Hello, everybody. My name's Alane Friend. I'm the host and creator of Are You Highly Sensitive Live? And I've gotten a great question this week about Santa and highly sensitive children. So I wanted to share the question with you and just a couple of my responses. What do I tell my highly sensitive child about Santa? I don't want to lie, but the questions are relentless. I wish I could avoid it altogether. I remember being a sensitive child and believing. And I remember the devastation at 8 years old when my friend's cousin told me something different. I'm not sure how best to handle it. The questions are already starting, and I know there will be more. Alane, please help. What is your guidance? This is a really important question about Santa and highly sensitive children. And I wanted to share my response and wish everybody who celebrates Christmas a Merry Christmas. I'm a sometimes celebrator of Christmas, but I grew up celebrating Christmas and believing in Santa. And I raised a child who had Santa in his life. I did it differently for my child than I experienced it growing up. And I think most of us are trying to make different choices. You know how we learn to parent, we either learn by reacting to how we were parented and doing it differently or doing the same thing. And finding something in between, a balance, is always challenging. The question to me is more about sensitive children and all their questions than it is actually about Santa. So the first strategy is that we always ask back the question that the child is asking and find out what it is that they're actually asking. And a really great way is to ask them what their answer is. So if the question is Santa real? Then we might say, well, what do you think? Is Santa real? And they can list all the evidence on both sides of the question. Also, they might say, well, how does Santa get to all those houses? Or how does Santa get down the chimney? Big fat guy, how does he squeeze down a little chimney? Or what if a house doesn't have a chimney? How does Santa get in? Well, my answer is again to ask them those questions. How do you think it would work? And once you engage in a conversation about any question that your sensitive child asks, you come to realize that there has to be some kind of belief. You realize that they are thinking in their own mind about what the answers might be. And I would like to know what their answers are before I put my adult lens on their question and start giving my adult answers. Those are generally not what's important to children. So let me just say, for example, that as you start to discuss how Santa does all the things that Santa supposedly does, well, for goodness sakes, obviously it takes magic. And did you know that the way magic works is if you believe in magic, then it's real for you? If you believe in magic, then it's real. There's so much magic in the world. You've got to admit, I mean, gravity is magic, and waking up in the morning is magic. And if you celebrate Christmas, you probably believe in some other magic that many religions call miracles. And miracles are absolutely magic. If you believe, then it's real. And so that is my policy on sensitive children and Santa. So have a conversation with your sensitive child, be they 3 or 8 or 13 or 23. And I wanted to share that my younger sister told me her children are older, and she told me as they became tweens and teens that her policy was you must believe to receive. And so she just kept that suspended reality going, and probably still is, that for sure Santa's real in your house or in your heart as long as you believe it. One other little Santa anecdote that I saw in the news this morning was a young 30-year-old, I believe, African-American woman newscaster. And they were showing a photograph of her when her mom was 30 and she was 1. Her first photo was Santa. And the 1-year-old little African-American girl's face was terrified. And as looking back on this picture, what she had to say about it was, this big fat white guy was going to break into my house in the middle of the night. And to her, that was a terrifying prospect through much of her childhood. Well, here's the way Santa works and the way magic works. he's exactly unique for each family. So you get to create Santa in any way that you want to create it. And the way Santa gets into your house, or whether Santa comes, or what Santa looks like, is unique to your child and your family. So allow the magic to enter your lives and your family, and you will be able to avoid that quandary that you have. So, in Steiner schools, they say that children can see fairies until age 7, and that it is much easier for a child, and this is also about child development, for them to live with suspended reality and to just live in the make-believe world. It's just so much more fluid and easy up until about the age of 7. Then it becomes a little bit more challenging. But remember that our sensitive children are both slower developers and remaining in earlier childhood years longer, and also so much faster developing, and so astute and thoughtful and articulate, and just have an amazing perspective on things, and so insightful. So both things are true of sensitive children. Once they start speaking, it's an unbelievable challenge to try to figure out which child do you have at any given time. So stay with magic and go with magic. And may you have magic in your life and in your heart as you move through the holiday season and onward. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to share this anywhere you find it. Thank you so much. Alane Freund, and Merry Christmas.